This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
The death of my son, moving 3 times in 6 months, my parents' divorce, my husband's job loss.
I was, 12 weeks postpartum. My then husband came out to me as transgender. And just a couple weeks later, our son suddenly died.
I just want to know how the kid feels, because I am not looking to pay for another generation's worth of therapy. I'm already paying for my own. Okay. We're live from my new bedroom.
That's right.
That's right.
We're here together.
We're here together. This has been by far the least griefy trip we've had.
Agreed.
I think it's because we've been so focused on work. I'm like, working on the house, not working. Maybe working on our work. I don't know. But we've been really focused on, we had a task to complete. Yeah. So I think we have not been doing a lot of grieving.
That's true.
So maybe it'll be nice to just spend some time grieving a little bit. Like in this next hour when we're recording.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be nice to take some time and think about
How
baby.
are you feeling? We looked at cribs today at IKEA.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
I didn't like it either.
First of all, I hate IKEA. Which we discovered. I hate IKEA. It's way too much stimulation for my brain. I hate that there's a million decisions. I just find the place so stressful and big and mazy. And my brain going into it was stressed.
Yeah. Here's the thing about those cribs. It's like, we know that, I know that you can have the most perfectly decorated nursery with all this love and care and the baby can still die, because that's what I had and Quinn still died. But it also just feels like we have to put all the vibes into this baby that we can for her to live. So we can't get a depressing crib for her. I
feel that way very strongly, even though I had the opposite, because Aiden lived in a pack and play and everything was so transient at the time, that my feeling is I'm hopeful that if I put all my energy into a permanent place that the baby will live. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I also know that it's not a guarantee and there's no connection. That's in my head. But it feels like something I can do now. Yeah. And I think part of me is still looking to mother a baby. Right. And I think maybe you feel that way too. Because let me tell you, when I say Alina has been full force ahead with this nursery, I've never seen anything like this. It's almost it's a force of its own, how much she is determined to get this done. And I think part of it is also because, this is you mothering a baby. Yeah. Which makes me scared for how you were when you were pregnant with Quinn. Were you really focused? Did you have spreadsheets?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Kaylee. Oh, I 100% had spreadsheets.
Oh my God. And you were we probably have to get our size 25 diapers now. You were really gung ho.
You guys heard in the stuff episode, I had everything that Quinn ever could have possibly needed for an entire year plus. Because I was just so ready. Yes. And I think, we talked about this. I feel like part of the reason that this feels so healing to me is because I'm 31 years old. I should be making a nursery for a baby. So there's something that feels really
Wait, hold on.
correct.
Let's just change that a second. No, you should, because there are a lot of 31-year-olds that aren't interested.
Alina, as a 31-year-old, should have a baby.
Want to be having a baby. So this feels like something you want to do.
That's right.
Yeah. I definitely feel that way. I feel you're so excited about it. And I don't think I'm not excited about it, but I think you have such direction and vision. And I'm what? I'll follow your lead. You just tell me where to go. That's literally what I said. I was you just even say we were picking paint colors and you literally were this is the one that we're going to do, right? You like it? And I was yeah, let's do that one. That looks good. I think you chose the right color.
I think it looks great.
Anyway, okay. So that's the nursery aside. So we are together here in person.
We are.
That's the point.
We are.
So how are you feeling?
I feel good.
You tell me more about that.
So I feel emotionally very good. I feel excited. I feel like I have a purpose. It feels good to be an aunt to this baby and paint her nursery for her. Yeah. And that feels really, really, really nice. I do find that my brain is literally for 10 seconds at a time, just melting down. And I just I'll be sitting there and just staring at the wall just for 10 seconds. And then I come back online. And I think maybe, if anything, that's my brain being that's too much for me.
I wonder if that's a sign that we should be carving out time to just lay in bed and stare at this thing.
Well, we are going to be doing a lot of that tomorrow.
We're going to do that tomorrow, even though we have things for you to do.
Yeah, we have plenty to do.
We have plenty to do, but yeah, I kind of feel like this is just my impression that both of us are like pushing ourselves to do it because it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I do this, and this is nursery aside, every time I put my grief aside, it comes back with a vengeance.
We do need to rest. The
grief is so demanding.
Yeah.
That like, even if you push it aside for like things you want, like I went on vacation, if I wanted to go on vacation, but my grief was exhausted because it didn't get tended to. So it's like, that sucks. I mean, you have to like be mindful of that. You have to like always be tending to your grief. So, okay, actually today we don't have a theme, I'd say, because there was something that we want to talk about, which is that we had a conversation recently and we both feel like there have been some updates in our grief journey.
Yeah.
That we both feel, first of all, we're both feeling them and we want to talk about it. So, Alina, take it away.
All right. So you guys who have listened to this podcast, if you've listened to all the episodes, if you've gone all the way back to the beginning, in the beginning, the first episode is called The Bottom. We talked about what it feels like to be at the bottom. And then in our second episode, we talked about what happier ever after may look like.
Yeah.
And I think both of us we kind of realized all of a sudden that we don't feel like we're at the bottom anymore.
I don't think we're at the bottom. I think we're a foot off the floor.
Yeah. We're still really in a hole. Let's be honest.
Yes, we are in a hole, but we're a foot off the floor.
Yeah.
And I think we have to pause and recognize that being a foot off the floor means that dreams come true. Not in a cheesy way. Like we hoped and envisioned for a life when we weren't on the floor. And I would hate to pass this moment and be like, oh, I missed it. Like, I feel like this should be celebrated.
Yeah. We need to celebrate the little teeny, tiny wins.
Yes. I want to celebrate the teeny, tiny wins.
But I will also say, like, something that's really scary about this is that once you're not at the bottom anymore, that means that you have somewhere to fall.
Yes.
So that is terrifying. Because before, so when Quinn first died, there was something really liberating about just being like, oh my God, like it can't get any worse. Like no matter what had happened to me after Quinn died, it would not have been worse than how I was already feeling. I feel like
the feeling of giving no fucks.
Yeah. And there's something so
powerful and liberating in that.
Yeah.
It's like you can yell at a woman on the street because you don't care.
I know.
Nothing matters.
Nothing matters.
And that feels really good in some ways.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's a consequence of something really bad.
Yeah. So. Like it's because we felt so awful that was true.
But now, like, there are so many, like, there are things that I feel like if I lost them now, I would be down down deeper again. And, like, I'm so afraid that that's going to happen. Like, I'm holding on so tightly to, like, the fact that I live. The question I want to ask you was, how do you know you're no longer on the bottom?
So I feel like.
And what are some of the metrics that you would set out for yourself for happier ever after? And what have been met and what still needs to be done?
So I have not met any of my happier ever after metrics. Okay. If you recall. A refresher. My happier ever after metrics were that I would be partnered again.
I think that you, whether or not you want to admit it, I think that you are in a relationship where you can count on someone. You have someone to depend on.
Yes.
And so in terms of being partnered, you have someone to pick you up in the airport. That probably feels good and scary.
Yeah. I mean, so I came to visit Judith, and this person that I'm dating who, I like, he just like offered to drop me off at the airport and pick me up. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. There was something like shocking and just like overwhelming about the idea that somebody would just like take care of me in that way.
Yes.
It's silly because like I have all like family and friends who have been taking care of me, but it just feels different. And obviously, like, Kaylee and I have been grieving together. And so, like, I know you and your husband, like, it's hard to grieve and take care of each other. So, like, I have not had a romantic partner who has been able to take care of me in any real sense. And, like, I'm not, like, asking for this person to take care of me literally, but, like, he is just, like, showing up for me.
Yes.
In many ways.
So when you say partnered, okay, you're right. You're not married or even close. But you are with someone who is taking care of you, which means that you don't have to do everything alone. You don't have to look out for yourself alone. I'm not saying do everything alone because you're an introvert and you probably want to do everything alone. But I'm saying you are in a space now where other people are looking out for your well-being.
Yeah.
I will never forget the first time when my husband, well, we were just like, I don't even think we were dating, but we were like in a committed flirtship. And
wait, a committed flirtship?
And I think we liked one another or whatever it was. And we went bowling. Like there was some group event and we went bowling, and I was running really late because I had an internship that was ridiculous. And I was running like 2 hours late or something. And I had called him to be like, oh my God, I don't think, I'm not going to have any time to bowl, or who's going to want me on their team. And he was like, oh, of course I saved you a spot. Like he had saved me a spot on his bowling team. And that was like the first time where I felt like, oh my God, like this is the best feeling, that there's someone out there that is like thinking about me also. Yeah. Not my mom, not my dad, like someone who is choosing to make sure that I can go bowling. Like that's what in some sense, that's what partnered means. So in some sense, you are partnered. Yeah. Not engaged, not, but you're partnered. There's someone who's thinking about you bowling.
Right. I mean, in the last, I guess that was back in the Happier Ever After. Yeah. Happier Ever After. Why can't I talk? Happier Ever After episode. We talked about like my dating profile and everything. Yeah. And, like I have entered a new phase of that where I am just like seeing somebody. So
not only are you seeing someone, you're seeing someone with a tall personality.
He has a tall personality.
He would love to hear that.
And also like, sure, like this guy is great and I like him.
Yeah.
I also will say like so many other things that I've had to deal with are done.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Like I got through the first death anniversary. I survived that.
Your house closed.
My house, we sold our house, which was such a relief.
Yeah.
Like we still have not even filed for divorce, but like we're like, I keep saying this, we're like right on the cusp of filing for divorce.
Cusp for like 5 years, but okay.
We've been on the cusp for like 3 months, but so like a lot. I mean, I'm on my own health insurance at work, like all this little stuff that
stability.
Yeah, I feel much more stable now than I did 3 months
More like ago. When you wake up in the morning, you can imagine what life is going to look like when you go to bed that night.
Yeah.
And I think there was a big chunk of time where you couldn't.
That's so true. And just in general, like as time passes in grief, I find that it's just my life is more predictable. Like I can be like, okay, at least once per week, I'm going to have an out of control crying spell, but okay, and then it's like, great. Okay. But like, I'm probably like, I can wake up in the morning and be like, I think today's going to be a good day. And I'm usually right, Well,
a lot of times I'll text you in the middle of the night and just say, I'm so sad.
Yeah.
I say I'm so sad all the time, but I'm used to being so sad. Like being so sad just kind of feels like, just like I am so hungry sometimes. So I need to take a shower. It's just like one more thing. Yeah. So you feel like you're a step off the floor because your life is more stable, because you've accomplished some of the things that you want to accomplish, because some of those huge check marks and like question marks about if your house was going to sell, whatever, have been, and how you're going to make it through the first year anniversary have been, fulfilled. Yeah. And what are some things that make you feel like you're still in the hole and you're not out yet?
It does. So most of my best lost parent friends are now having babies. Yeah. So like my class of lost parents are all kind of moving on without me. So that feels a little bit, honestly, like I don't even want to say it feels sad. Like I've talked about this in previous episodes. I am so relieved that I don't feel really any amount of jealousy or sadness or whatever about lost moms having babies.
Yeah, but Alina, it's still a big feeling.
But it is a big feeling. Yeah. I mean, it's just, it does feel like
hard.
Yeah. There's really, so I had to, divorce and lost mom friends, and both of them, one is pregnant and one had a baby in November. Like she had a baby by herself. So I don't have anyone in my stage of life at all. I don't think they really exist. Like I think I'm one of the only people.
I'm sure for the fact that you know two in Massachusetts means there must be like two in every city.
One of them's in Nevada and one of them's in Massachusetts.
But the fact that you know two means that there's more than one. You know what I mean?
If anybody listening knows.
Yeah, what about our new listener in Spain?
Yeah. Okay. I speak Spanish.
I don't. If anyone knows of another person who's lost a child and is now single and is not pregnant or trying,
right,
please let us know so Alina knows there's more than two out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about what's going on with you.
So we moved into a place with lots of space, like a whole townhouse worth of space. And I started my new job and I'm like in the thick of it. I'm like really in the job. And I'm 7 months pregnant. and I just met my new doctor's office today. And like a lot of the things that were question marks about, finding a new doctor, I found a new doctor. Finding a pediatrician, I found a pediatrician. Finding a place to live, I found a place to live. Finding a new job, I have a new job. My husband is supposed to start his new job in the next couple of weeks, but in theory, he has a job. He has a signed offer letter. So in that sense, it really does feel like so many of those question marks of like living like a homeless person, house to house to house, moving every 2 months.
Yeah.
Just the fact that I'm living in this house and living in this whatever I'm living in, townhouse, and I can pick a lamp.
Yeah.
Or I can paint a wall.
Yeah.
It like makes me want to cry of just like how good it feels to rake a lawn. Because it's like, oh, I'm raking a lawn because I'm going to be here.
Yeah. It's worth putting effort into your space.
For the first time in 14 months.
Yeah.
I finally have what feels like a home.
Yeah.
And for me, that was so much of my happier ever after was like finding a place that is home.
Right.
So, okay, I want to take a minute to acknowledge that like my dreams in that sense have come true because I really feel home here.
Yeah.
And I care about the brass knobs and the silver knobs and the, the soap dispensers. Like to me, like that is, I'm like, I wake up, let me tell you, this is a complicated feeling. I am the happiest and saddest person when I take a moment to acknowledge these things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the happiest because I really do feel like finally this dream has come true. And I'm the saddest because I can't share it with my son.
Yeah.
And I'm the saddest because I miss him so much. And I'm the saddest because this is another feeling I wasn't expecting. Like I miss him being close, even though he was dead in LA and he's dead in DC. I feel like I'm so far away from him, and that's so hard. So I am happier and sadder being further removed from the loss. But overall, to me, I'm still a foot off the floor.
Yeah.
And I know this, which was the second question I asked, how do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I am spending less time on the floor.
Me too.
I was on the floor earlier this week for, whatever it was. But in general, I'm spending less time on the floor.
So I just had the death anniversary last week and I still didn't even spend that much time on the floor. Like I think I sank to the floor like one time.
That's incredible progress.
Yeah.
I don't want to say progress because I don't think it's like you're going somewhere, but that's incredible.
It's just
change.
a big change.
Big change.
Yeah.
I think we both spend more. I can even tell by how much we're texting during the day. Like we both have lives that are beyond just the grief.
That is such a good way to put it. I feel like my life, I mean, we talked about those grief visualizations. I feel like the jar around the grief ball, my life is a little bit bigger now.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit bigger.
Just a little bit.
The grief has gotten smaller or my life has gotten bigger such that there's just there's more things
to talk about, to think about. There's more space in my brain to think about other things.
Yes.
The other day I was so annoyed with work because
hold on.
Who knows?
Say that again.
The other day I was so annoyed with work and I paused and I said like, oh my gosh, I'm the type of person that now can be annoyed with work.
Yeah.
The fact that I was annoyed with work is like mind blowing.
I know.
Yeah. I was excited that I was annoyed. And then, but this is what my day looks like. Okay. I'll wake up in the morning and I'll feel happy that my day looks like it does. And I'll be sad about something. And then I'll go to work and I'll be working and I'll be engrossed in a meeting. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get a call from my son's cemetery saying I have to finalize the details of his headstone. And then I'll go back to my normal life and I'll do the dishes. And then I'll get a call from the pediatrician saying that I can't be accepted in whatever. The pediatrician basically saying that I'm going to have to advocate for my husband, my daughter to have extra testing because her brother died of SIDS. And then I'll go back to my life and do the laundry or like answer a work call. And then I'll have to go into the room that's going to be the nursery and separate Aiden's books from her books. So I always remember which ones are Aiden's. Mm-hmm. And then I'll call you and then I'll pick up pictures and decide which pictures I want to hang on the wall because which are going to be too much for me to see every day and which are going to feel good to see. It's like, and then I go back and I watch TikTok. Like, That's what life looks like.
We've very much integrated the loss at this. I mean, not, there's integration that takes place over your whole life, but I feel like the absence of Quinn is just a part of my day now.
Does that feel good or bad?
Not just. I mean, it's a big gaping hole, but it's just my day is. I'm just walking around this giant hole.
Punctuated by Quinn, but it isn't Quinn.
Yeah,
that's how I feel. My day is punctuated by Aiden and just the life after loss. But
you asked me how it feels, and I think you asked me how it feels, and I feel like it feels good, and I think that some lost parents have some guilt about that kind of feeling. And to me, I don't. I think that my soul and Quinn's soul are just as connected as they ever were, and I don't have to think about him every second of the day. I don't have to sob on the floor to be connected with him.
And when you are sobbing on the floor, are you surprised, or are you like, oh, and now it's time for me to sob on the floor?
It depends.
And how do you feel in terms of like needing accommodations from your family or friends? And like, how has it been now that your loss is a little more integrated, re-entering into the world of family and friends?
It's a little bit weird. And I mean, we touched on like me dating too. And I have been putting energy into this, new relationship. And I think it feels a little weird because I don't know how much of that to share like with my family and friends, because I am also still a mess and still need their support. But then it feels a little funny to go one day from having like a blast on a date to then the next day being like, I can't buy groceries. Like somebody needs to bring me a baked ziti.
Yeah.
But like, that's just true. That's just,
I think that's the complicated part of it. I think that's the complicated part.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it on the head. It's like there's like a downside of being in a better space, which is people think, okay, she's better now. When in reality, it's like I'm better, but I still really need support.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. So we just talked about how my class of lost moms are all moving on and having, not moving on, obviously, but moving forward, and having
with their families, moving forward with their families.
Right. And for me, like I actually have, as much as I do wish that my life circumstances were different and that I could be having another baby right now, I also I'm so aware that I think it's going to serve me well in the long term that I'm going to have had all this time to really process and integrate Quinn's loss and kind of like parent him as a dead only child for a little bit. So I wonder, like, how do you feel? Like, obviously you're so grateful that you get to have another baby, but how do you feel about like having to now share your attention between Aiden and another baby? A hopefully living baby. She's living right now.
She's living right now. I think it's hard.
Yeah.
I think it's hard. Like someone explained this to me the other day that I thought was really well done. This person lost her son at age 10 months, so older. And she had a baby after. And she said, in the beginning, I compared everything the new baby did to my baby that had passed. It was like, is he reaching the same milestones as my son who passed? Does he look like him? And then she said, then the living baby passed 10 months and is now 3 or 4 years old. And she's like, and now I compare everything that my son who's living, I compare my son who passed to the son who's living. So she's like, now it's like, would he have reached first grade? Would he have had friends like this? Would he have enjoyed sports? It's like, right now it feels like I know Aiden so much better than I know this baby. Yeah. And it's hard to feel like at some point my knowledge of him, my knowledge of her, I'm going to feel so much closer to her. I'm going to be able to be so much more involved parent. I'm going to be able to just love on her in a more practical way. I'm going to be able to have such a stronger relationship with her. And it's hard to feel like right now I feel like what I have with Aiden was so special, and I'm sure it is, but in the grand scheme of things, I think I'm going to feel like I barely even knew him.
I feel that way too. I'm actually feeling emotional right now because that's a thought I've had too. Like, I'm hoping that the rest of my kids will, outlive me.
Right.
And so I'll get all these additional years with them that I didn't get with Quinn. And, you know, right now with Quinn as my only child, I have this really strong connection with him that I don't think will fade, but I know that, like, I don't know what his handwriting looks like, you know, like, well, I don't know what his favorite food was.
Right. You're not going to know, like, how, you know, what his first word was.
I mean, we don't even know. I feel like we've talked about this. We feel like we have a sense of what our son's personalities would have been, but like we don't really know.
We don't know.
You know, and so the idea of
there's gonna be another baby that you know so well.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like, was that love I had? It's kind of like, it reminds me of like the love that you had for your first boyfriend when you were 16. And then you're like married and you like have a little like 10-year relationship and you're like, oh, that love? That was just like infatuation, puppy love.
Yeah. The other thing though, like on the flip side is that I feel like because my connection with Quinn now is on like a different plane, when I have a 3-year-old, you know, like a 3-year-old living child, like I'm only going to know them as a 3-year-old, you know, like I don't think I'm going to know their soul and their spirit in the same way that I feel like I'm connected to Quinn.
We feel it's so special because it's all we have left.
Yeah.
But I bet you the people out there with living children are like, you have no idea.
I hope they wouldn't say that.
No, but I think that that's what they think. If they were being really honest with us. I don't know. This is another thing we're going to have to ask people who have living children and deceased children. Like, is this love we feel? Is this puppy love or is this real love? We don't really know.
We don't know.
This is all we have.
If it's puppy love and you have this new baby and it's puppy love, please don't tell me.
I will not tell you. I promise not to tell you. Or maybe the answer is it's different love. It's just different love. There's something so magical about puppy love. Alina, you never fight with your first boyfriend. There's something special about that.
Yeah.
You never had a first fight. You never yelled at them. You never, you know, like there's something so special about like those memories in your head that are just like golden perfect.
I remember being kind of frantic because I was like, how is any other child ever going to measure up to him? Because he did not have the chance to like tell me he hated me or like, you know, like I didn't catch him drinking, you know, like he never was anything but perfect. And then my friends were like, Alina, it wasn't all like, you know, magical. Like the breastfeeding was like so painful and he kept you awake. And I was like, yeah, but like he's dead.
That wasn't
and like
him.
And I already like literally like he had just died the week before. And that was already like, I already had forgotten all that pain. Like it was gone. And I was like, by the time like years have gone by and having another baby, like my rose colored glasses about Quinn are going to be fuchsia. Like that's what I said. That's true. And so, like, I think, honestly, like, I do think it goes in both directions. Like, I think in some ways, like, I think I'm not naive enough to think that I won't have a different, potentially more, I mean, I will know my other kids better, human to human. But I do feel like the soul connection will be the same.
Sometimes I try and think about this in terms of other people's loss because we have lost babies.
Right.
Other people have lost all sorts of people that listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
People, they've lost friends, they've lost siblings, they've lost parents. And I think the best anecdote that I could, like the best similarity is like what happens if you lose your mother when you're young and you get a step parent.
Mm-hmm.
But that mother is always going to be your mother.
That's right.
Always.
Yeah.
You're always going to walk with a piece of them. You're always going to talk with a piece of them.
Right.
You may not know them as well. You may not know how they tell stories. You may not know how they make their chicken soup. But I would never look at somebody who lost their mother and had a stepmother and think to myself, like, that mother is just puppy love. I'd be like, no, that's a mother's love. And that's another mother's love. Yeah. So I think I just talked myself out of a feeling I talked myself into. Okay, well, I came through the other side. Yeah. So that's one thing that I think about when I think about this new baby. I also think about how I've been thinking a lot about names for this baby.
Mm-hmm. Are you still thinking the same name?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Because I think we've decided that's what we're going to go with. But there was a question about how much or how little should this baby's life be born in the context of Aiden's life and Aiden's death. Mm-hmm. And how much should that be incorporated into her name or even her nursery? Like we were talking about, like putting pictures of Aiden in her nursery or whatever. How the thing that you don't have to really worry about or not, I don't know if it's a blessing or not a blessing, is that your children will be individually wanted at the exact same times that they were wanted.
That's right.
As opposed to this baby.
Who would not exist.
Who would not exist if Quinn was alive.
If Aiden was
alive. She would exist if Quinn was alive, because my son would still be dead.
Right. But I would be so sad.
I'd be so
because
sad.
I wouldn't know you.
No, but you'd be so happy.
That's right. I'd be so happy. You'd be so sad because
I'd be so sad because I'd be so lonely. But yeah, like
maybe you would have found some other woman on Reddit.
No, but I would have found someone somewhere else. I have other lost mom friends that I love dearly.
But would those people come and paint your nursery for you?
No, Rachel, you didn't fly across the country to paint my nursery. But I do have a friend that did visit Aiden the other day at the cemetery, like without me even asking, like on a day where I just like really needed it. And she sent me pictures of like she brought her kids and they read stories and sang songs. So that is a good lost mom friend. But anyway, yeah. So I guess, wow,
a lamp.
I thought you were recording the podcast for a second.
We are.
Oh, okay.
It's okay. We can cut it
I
out.
was like, it sounds like a podcast, and he's like, no, it's pretty.
Aiden's dad is here.
Aiden's dad is here.
Wow.
Yay. Let's put this in the guest room so Alina has it tonight.
I love it.
Or else it'll be
I
very
love
dark.
that lamp.
I love
really
that
like
lamp
that
too.
lamp.
Do you like that lamp? Okay, we made some good purchases today.
We did.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, we're talking about how your children will be completely separate and alone from unique from one another. You don't have to ask yourself how much are their lives connected.
I don't know. It's but I can imagine it would feel a little funny because it's like you're grateful you're alive, but that means that you're grateful that your brother's dead.
I want this baby more than I wanted Aiden.
Yeah,
I want this baby more. This baby was this baby was like more intentionally made than Aiden was.
Yeah,
and this baby will, I think, will know a better type of like selflessness and love.
Yeah,
from me. I would love to know if we have any other listeners. I would love to who are in this situation. I'd love to know how you felt being the baby after loss, and I'd like to know, did it screw you up? Would it screw you up if your name wasn't somehow connected to their name, or would you say to yourself, a name is just a name?
Yeah.
Like my name is Judith. How many Judiths do you know that are 30? Zero. Just me. And it doesn't define me.
I mean, now that I'm talking about this, like even I have complicated feelings about all this because the rest of my kids wouldn't exist if everything hadn't happened in the same way that it did.
Because they would have been Kaylee's kids.
Well, like let's even say that Kaylee did come out. Like I know that the timeline of our divorce would have been different if Quinn had not died.
Definitely.
So that is a little bit crazy to think about. Like I don't even have those kids yet, but I know that Quinn's death kind of set me on a trajectory toward whoever those kids are.
Yeah.
And so obviously like once I meet them, I'm sure I'll have all this gratitude that they exist, but it's complicated because they exist because he died. Even if it's a little bit
complicated.
different.
I just want to know how the kid feels because I am not looking to pay for another generation's worth of therapy. I'm already paying for my own. So I just want to know. Or on the other hand, okay, let's just pause and argue both sides so I can talk myself in and out of things again. Another things that I'm thinking is like I feel like Aiden and this baby girl are connected up in wherever the babies are.
Yeah.
I feel like their connection is so strong that he brought her to me as a gift. And I wonder if she feels that too. If she was like, oh, my big brother, of course. Like, yeah, I came with him.
Yeah. I
don't think I'm going to look at her and see him.
Mm-mm.
But I hope that she has like maturity for a baby.
I hope my newborn has the maturity.
I hope that she has like the confidence and the maturity and, the ability to self-differentiate and say like, there's enough love.
I think she will. And I think that that's because you've done so much work that you won't parent into her jealousy or anything like that.
I don't think I will.
No, I think I can see that you recognize her as her own separate special child that you absolutely adore for exactly who she is. And she's not even born yet.
It's not going to be like the type of thing where I don't let my kids go out past 10 because I'm afraid they're going to die because their brother died. Like, I don't think it's quite like that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they will be super monitored on the heart monitor. But I don't think they'll know that. They won't be aware of that. Anyway, I don't remember what your question was, but I hope I answered it. And then I think I answered 10 more questions that you didn't ask.
We are just rambling. I'm going to have to be editing this.
This is the update of where we are. We're in a better spot.
We are.
We are in a better spot. Okay, this is what I want to tell you. Oh my God. As long as I'm living, friends, I paid $275 for this piece of advice. So I'd like to share it with you. I spoke to my therapist this week. We had such a good conversation. My therapist was telling me, I was telling her how I feel like, you know, in some ways the dream I had is coming true. And I said, but I'm so scared because, you know, what about it could all go away? A year ago from now, when Aiden was born, I was feeling so excited and hopeful.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we live in a sunny new place. Yeah. Like I get to live near my parents. Like this is so dreamy. Mm-hmm. And then everything went to shit. So I was like, I'm a little afraid to feel that way. And she said to me, she was like, the key to happiness in life is to be able to appreciate where you are and remain hopeful for the future.
Yeah. So
it's like, I am where I am now. I really appreciate that I'm in a better spot. And I'm hopeful that this baby lives. When I get to the point where this baby lives, I'm going to say, I'm so grateful. And I'm so happy that I made it to this spot. And I'm hopeful that
she'll keep living.
And let's say I make it to her first birthday. And I'm like, oh my God, I made it. Yeah. I made it.
Yeah.
And I'll be so happy. And then I'll be like, okay. And I'm hopeful that like she hits her milestones. And like, I'm hopeful that my husband and her have a loving, beautiful, happy relationship. Yeah. And like, you have to stay where you are, appreciate where you are, and be hopeful. And I said, okay, well, what happens when things go to shit? Then what? You can't like, then what do you do? And she said, in those moments, you have to look and see like find the growth where you can find it.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be your exit strategy. Like that's how you're going to get out of the hole, by growing out of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So she's like, in the bad times, you like try and grow your way out of it. And then the good times, you appreciate it and hope for the future.
And appreciate how far you've grown.
Yeah, the only way out of the hole is to grow out of it. So what do we mean when we say grow out of it? I don't even know if I know.
I think we're mixing all of our metaphors, but it's like we're growing. Maybe we're like the black hole at the center of the rainbow rings, and we're painting rainbow rings, and then eventually we're going to be a big enough ring that we can get out of the hole. We can roll our way out of the hole.
Or maybe we could, growing out of it means like we're self-aware enough to know that things that hurt us 6 months ago don't hurt anymore in the same way. Because we're like, okay, now I know that that person didn't mean to hurt my feelings. That's just me being sensitive because my son died. And so it doesn't hurt as much, so we're in less pain. Mm-hmm. So we're able to have, if 6 months ago I wasn't in so much pain by every single thing that every single person said to me, I'd have a lot more space in my life for other feelings.
That's right.
But now I've been able to self-differentiate. I'm able to see their perspective. I'm able to like, think kindly about others. And so now I'm able to have a little more space. Okay, does that make any sense?
I don't know. They'll tell us if it doesn't.
Shoot.
I think it does, but we're crazy.
I'll have to ask my mom. My mom will be like, the audio was bad. I couldn't hear that part.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.
Yay!